The rabbis teach us, Amar Rav Acha, Yofes yichason shel tzadikim shel avdei avos miterason shel banim. It is more beautiful, Yafa, more dear. The sicha, the talk, discussion, the chatter of the avdei avos, of the servants of our forefathers, mitarason shel banim, greater than the Torah of their children. Sharei parsha shel Eliezer kefula b'Torah. The parsha of Eliezer, the story of Eliezer, is actually spoken in detail, not once, but twice in the Torah. First, when Avram actually tells Eliezer, please go on this mission, a mission to find a suitable bride for my son Yitzchak. No easy task. Certainly, Kasha, Zivugin, Kriyas Yamsov, the Gemara tells us that to make a shidduch is just as difficult or more difficult than splitting the ocean. So says the Gemara in Sota. So Kal Vachomer, most certainly, the shidduch of Yitzchak, there was nobody in the world like him. There couldn't have been many suitable brides for Yitzchak. Plus, Eliezer was limited in his choice. He couldn't just go out there to the whole entire world. He had to go to a family member. A difficult task, no doubt. A mission. So Eliezer goes, comes to Choron, finds a well, asks Hashem to show him the right bride. He finds Yitzchak. He has conversations with Hashem and conversations with Rivka. He finds Rivka, I should say. He has conversations with Rivka into Lavan's house. And then he repeats the whole story again, a second time. And the Torah describes the entire Maisa in great detail. It's Perek Chav Daled, and it goes from the first pasuk of the Perek all the way until the end of the Perek. Over 60 psukim, almost to the end of the Perek. 60 psukim. 60 full psukim to describe the story of Eliezer Eved Avram finding a bride for Yitzchak, and it repeats all of the details 2 times. Shaharei Parsha Shel Eliezer Kefula. The Parsha of Eliezer was written twice in the Torah. V'harbe Gufei Torah lo nitnu ela beremiza. Whereas when you have other types of Gufei Torah, the body of the Torah, let's just throw out an example. The 3 cardinal Averos.
Yeah.
Yarag Val Yavar. It doesn't say in the Torah that you must be killed rather than transgress these 3 Averos. Rather, Chazal learn 2 out of 3 of them at least from a drasha, and 1 from logic, from a svara. But it's not written explicitly in the Torah. And there's an example of a fundamental principle that the Torah needs to teach us. And the Torah doesn't even say it outright, doesn't explicate, rather hints to it. A drasha, a svara, puts the task of learning these fundamental ideas of Judaism in the hands of the rabbis. Whereas b'sicha, the talk, I won't call it the idle talk, but the regular talk, the conversations of Avdei Avos, of the servants Eliezer, Eved Avram, is more yofa, is more beautiful and more meaningful than even the Gufei Torah, the fundamental ideas of the Torah. Obviously, Rashi, who brings this medrash, is coming to teach us that there is so much to learn from this story. There's so much to learn, there's so much to gain. There's ideas that are so fundamental that they make fundamental ideas of the Torah, such as Yarg Val Yavar, seem much less fundamental. These are the real ideas, the main ideas of the Torah, and they're learned from Eliezer Eved Avram. So we have to study them. We all know Rashi, Parshas Bereshis, states, Lo hoya haTorah lahaschil ela me'achodesh hazeh lachem. The Torah should have rather, instead of starting from Bereshis, Bara Elokim es hashamayim es haaretz, that God created the heavens and the earth, the first day of it should have just started by saying HaChodesh hazeh lachem, the first mitzvah. Here's Kiddush HaChodesh. Here's the new moon. You have to be Mekadosh it. You have to make Rosh Chodesh. This is where the body of the Torah begins. The halachos. How we're supposed to conduct our days. But rather, the Torah chooses to start with Bereshis. Why? Asks Rashi in the name of Chazal. And Rashi gives the answer of Chazal, the Koyach Maso Higil Yamo Lotzis Nachas Goyim. That's the, you can put it up there. That's Koyach Maso Higil Yamo. He wanted to ensure that Klal Yisrael had the rights over Eretz Yisrael, and therefore the Torah had to state exactly how it was, how it came down, so to speak, that Avram Avinu would have a claim to Eretz Yisrael and not the other nations of the world. And the Ramban asks the question on Rashi, what do you mean? Lo hoya Torah lahaschil ela me'achodesh hazeh lachem, that the Torah should not have started only from Chodesh hazeh lachem. The Torah certainly had to start from Bereshis, Bara Elokim es hashamayim es haaretz, to teach us the root, the shoresh ha'emunah, to teach us our belief, our basic and fundamental belief in the Rabbi Shalom. If we don't believe that the world was created by a single God, and we believe that the world always existed, or some other kind of theory, a person is a kofer baker. He's somebody he doesn't believe in Hashem. So obviously it's the fundamental principle. It's the Ramban's question. The Ramban has an answer to his question. Why that question? But what do we see from here? That the entire Torah, from the beginning, from Bereshis, until HaChodesh hazeh lachem, which is in the middle of Parshas Bo, in Shemos, every single word teaches us a fundamental idea of our amunah, a basic belief. And another Ramban, we know of Maisa Ava Simin Labanim, everything that the forefathers did was a Simin Labanim, was to create to create the future. They were planting the seeds so that we should be able to reap the fruit of those seeds. And every single action that took place in Parshas Bereshis that the Torah goes out of its way to explain is full of meaning, full of knowledge, full of lessons. And we have to focus ourselves. What is that emunah that we're meant to learn? What are those midos that we're meant to learn? And what particularly can we take out of the lesson of the story of Eliezer Eved Avram? The story, the basic story I've already said. For the details, you'll have to follow the Baal Koreh this week when he's laning, or perhaps you can learn it before Shabbos. You're not going to read the entire story, it's quite long and lengthy. But we know the basic outline. Eliezer was asked by Avram Avinu, please go and find a wife for Yitzchak. He even makes him make a shvuah, he makes him promise, Simna yadcha tachas yireichi, right? Put your hand underneath my thigh and make a promise that you're not going to take a woman from my son Yitzchak from the daughters of Canaan. We all know that Eliezer Eved Avram himself was a descendant of Canaan. We'll see even more so in the Medrash shortly. And he had his own daughter, and he was a little disappointed. This is all not in the Psukim, but this is Rashi's explanation. A little disappointed that he wasn't going to be able to have a shidduch with Avram Avinu. So he says, what's going to be? Ulai lo sova ha'isha leleches acharai. Maybe the woman is not going to want to follow me, and I'm not going to be matzliach. I'm not going to be successful in finding a wife from your family. Says Avram, az tinaka mi'alasi. Then, okay, that's true. Then you'll be naki, you'll be innocent, clean from the shavua that I'm making you swear, and you can take a wife from the Benos HaKnani. So he goes out with jewelry, gold and silver, sits on the well, talks to Hashem, says, please, hakri no lefanai, prepare this thing so I don't have to do too much, right? Just bring the girl, whoever feeds me, feeds my gumalim. That's the girl that you prepare, that Hashem prepared for Yitzchak. And just as he's finished talking, Rivka comes out, right? Can I feed you? Can I give you to drink? And he gets so excited that Hashem's fulfilling he gets so excited that the test was fulfilled that he just gives her all his money and gold and silver and everything, and then he asks, well, whose family are you from? And oh, wow, she's from Bas Besuel, right? Besuel, the family of Avram Avinu, Givaldik. So then he's invited in. We know Lavan comes out and he says, oh, you have any more jewelry for me? And he says, well, it just sold out, basically. So Lavan says, what do you mean, cash for gold, right? I can give you cash. No. So
what's the trying to kill him?
Yeah. Okay, so then Eliezer goes in and says, I don't want to eat, and let me tell you my story. And then he goes over the whole story again, everything we said. Ulai lo soiva ish lech zarai, and he even says, I told Avram Avinu, maybe they're not going to go, and I made him swear, maybe the family's not going to be agreeable, presumably to try to influence them to send her, and eventually they ask Rivka's permission, and Rivka goes. Besuel dies along the way because he tried to stop this shidduch from happening.
Well, he tried with the poison thing, and they switched the cups.
Yeah. So that's the basic.
And Devorah goes with. Doesn't Devorah go with?
Yeah, the Menekes, Rivka, very good.
And kill his father, Betuel.
Didn't kill him. The poison killed him. He killed himself.
The Malach killed him. Yeah. That's the story. So let's
his own poison.
ask
Drank his own poison.
a number of questions on the story.
Okay.
I read through the Psukim, and I found something very interesting. Who was the Eved Avram? What was his name?
Eliezer.
How do you know? How do you know who Avram sent?
A palit.
What?
He was a palit.
He was the palit.
Yeah, he came to him to tell him that the Lord was catch.
There was somebody else.
That was he was.
Well, that's one midrash that says that, but not a lot of midrash.
No.
You were saying that Og says it, but that's only one. A lot of people don't agree with that.
So I'm looking through the Psukim here,
He's coupling.
and I don't know how we know this is Eliezer at all.
Rashi tells us.
Evan. Okay.
Yeah.
We know from a different story that
We know from last week's story.
Huda Mesach Eliezer. That we know from
We know
different
from last.
part, right?
We know from last week's story.
The kings, right?
Well, he took his faithful thing Eliezer, and they went to fight.
To fight with
But we don't see who this was. Al Avdos Kanvesa, Moshe B'Kol Kinyana.
On this week's parsha, it doesn't say who the
doesn't say
evidence
who
is.
it
a
is.
lot of it.
But it says a servant of Abraham.
Right, and we know who the servant. Okay, fine, fair enough. So it must be it's Eliezer. But isn't it strange?
Doesn't say his name.
It doesn't say his name once. Every single time it refers to him as Eved, Ha-Eved, Eved Avram, right?
But what's in a name? A name means I have an entity, I have an identity, I am me.
Right.
He has no entity.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let's try to bring it out.
Period.
Let's try to bring it out. There's another medrash There's another medrash, the Medrash Rabbah. It says as follows. There's a pasuk, Kenan biyodo mozne mirma la'oishek ahev. Who's Kenan? Kenan zehu Eliezer. This is what the Medrash says in our parsha. Kenan zehu Eliezer. Kenan zehu Eliezer.
No, it's tricky, yes. Yeah.
Okay? So we're accustomed, because we learn Chumash Rashi, to understanding, Eliezer had this daughter, but Avram couldn't marry, right? You couldn't make the shidduch because he was from the wrong family. He was a Canaanite, right? The Medrash says in our parsha, Eliezer was Kenan.
Yeah.
Eliezer was Kenan. Right? Shem, Cham, Yefes, Cham, Hu, Avi, Kenan, that one?
The grandson of Noah.
Right? Who was Kenan?
Son of Ham.
What was the curse that Noah gave to Kenan?
To serve, to be a slave.
To slave.
Eved Avodim.
Yes.
Eved Avodim.
Yeah.
The servant of all servants was Kenan. See, wow, Kenan became Eliezer.
He must be more than good.
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of a useful servant he would have been at that age. But
which age? Oh, at 150, 350,
well, whatever.
440?
Maybe his gematria is right. Right? How many?
318.
318. Maybe that's how old he was.
Yeah.
I don't know. Check it out.
Yeah.
But
he was the originator, I think, of Jericho.
The first Eved in the world. Who?
Jericho. You wouldn't know it too young.
Okay. The first Eved, the first Eved that ever existed was Kenan.
Yeah.
Right? And he was called Eved Avodim, the servant of all servants. Why is he called Eved Avodim? I mean, the first of anything is always the root.
Prototype.
Right? He was the greatest, deepest, most Eved-like Eved that there ever existed in the history of Eved.
Right.
Avadim.
We'll call it the quintessential.
The quintessential, who? Eved. That was Kenan, who became Eliezer. So what does that mean? Now, we said already tonight that Eliezer, the whole story is repeated twice. First, when it happened, and second, when Eliezer tells the story back to Besul and the family. So, the first time it happens, so Avram says, go to my family. V'yomer elav ha'eved. The Eved says to Avram, Ulai lo sova yisha leleches acharei al haaretz. Maybe she's not going to want to. And Ulai, the word Ulai is spelled Aleph Vav Lamed Yud. Full Ulai, like normal. You go to the second time that it's spelled, and he says it right. He says to Besuel,
He's spelling now.
here in Pasuk Lamed Tes, Ulai lo selach ha'isha acharai, without a vav. And Rashi comments, Ulai lo selach ha'isha elai ksiv. Elai. Aleph Lamed Yud. Elai. To me. Elai means to me. Ulai means maybe. Elai means to me.
Yeah.
So if you skip the vav in Ulai, it can spell Elai. To me. Elai. Lo selach ha'isha acharai. To me. What was he saying? Bas haisal Eliezer. This is what we said. Eliezer had a daughter, Machzer limtzai ila, and he was looking for an excuse. Yomer lo Avram lifnos elav lahasio bito, so that he can tell Avram, you come to me to marry my daughter. Amlo Avram. Avram says, no. Bini Baruch, my son is blessed.
Your curse.
Atar. Vein Arur medabik bebaruch. You're an Arur. Arur Kenan. Arur Kenan. Eved Avadim. You're an Arur. I'm a Baruch. Ein Arur medabik bebaruch.
They're incompatible.
doesn't happen. It's
Never
like
between
trying
the
to
meats.
stick the two
opposite poles,
similar
yeah.
sides of
The
a
magnet.
magnet, trying to get them together.
They
It just
repel.
doesn't go. They don't go. It repels. Ein arur medabek v'barach. Elai. So the Sfasemis asks a question. Why is this remez, this hint in the Torah, right? Skip the vav, teach you a whole lesson. The second time that Eliezer says it over, and not the first time that it actually happened. There it says it with a vav. Why? Why? There's another medrash that says as follows: Ayidei shesharas oisei tzadik be'amuna. Since that tzaddik, meaning Eliezer, was mishares be'amuna, served Avram Avinu with amuna, yotza michlal arah lebarach. He went out from being an arah and he became a barach. So seemingly these two ideas, these two midrashim, these two divrei chazal are contradictions to each other. Is it ani atav arur va'ani baruch ve'ein arur midabik v'baruch? An arur and a baruch can't go together, and therefore we can't marry out to you. Or is it sheshares be'emuna? Yotza michlal arur lebaruch. He went out from being an arur and it became a baruch. Which one is it? It's a contradiction.
Yeah.
Let's try to answer these questions. There's another medrash. Brings a pasuk in Mishlei. Lots of the Svarim like to quote this medrash. Eved maskil, a bright and intelligent Eved, says the medrash, Zehu Eliezer. That's Eliezer. An Eved maskil, a very intelligent Eved. Ma haskalato, what's his intelligence? That's the medrash. Amar kfar kilalto shel oisoi ha'ish biyadoi. I'm already cursed. I know I'm going to be a servant. I know I'm going to be an Eved. Shema yavil kushi echad v'yishtabed bi. Maybe I don't know, Schwarzer will come and be mishtabed bi. A kushi. Mutav li she'eshtabed b'bayis hazeh v'lo b'bayis acher. It's better that I be an Eved in this house than in a different house. And the puzzle continues. It says Eved maskil, smart Eved. He's a smart guy, intelligent. Made an intelligent choice. If I'm going to be an Eved, I might as well be an Eved for Avram Avinu. Eved maskil besoch achim yichalek nachala. Amongst achim, he will divide the inheritance. Says the Medrash, besoch Yisrael, amongst Klal Yisrael, he will be zocha to a nachla. Because he made that decision, he acknowledged his position as an Eved, and it decided therefore might as well be an Eved of Ram. So now he can actually become part of Klal Yisrael. That's the Medrash. So we have to understand, those are the Divrei Chazal. Now let's try to understand what's going on over here. Who was Eliezer? Why didn't he have a name? Was he Nogeya B'davar? Was he wanted Avram's son for his daughter? Was he an Arur? Ein Arur Medavik V'barach? Was he a Yotza Michlal Arur? Did he go out from being an Arur? Is he a Yechalek Nachla? Is he someone who does have part in Klal Yisrael? Is he an Eved Maskil? And who is he and what can we learn from him? This is an unbelievable Sfasemis. He brings us from the Kotzker Rebbe.
Ooh. Which one is that?
It's in Tafresh Lamed Beis. A Laiksiv. To me. Right? My daughter. Kishahaya Nogeah. When he was talking to Avram, he was Nogeah B'davar. What does Nogeah B'davar mean? He had his own agenda.
Yeah.
He had an agenda.
Yeah.
Avram sent him on a shlichus, my trustworthy Eved. I've got an agenda. I don't want to accomplish that shlichus. I don't want to fulfill... What?
He was biased.
He was biased. He had an agenda.
Yeah.
But he was also a tzaddik. Eliezer Eved Avram, right? We're talking Eliezer Eved Avram, trusty servant of Avram.
That's why he picked him.
That's why he picked him, exactly. He
That's
sent him on a shlichus. Avram also knew he had a daughter, right?
Yeah.
Says the Kotzker, Kishahaya Nogeah Lo Hirgish Nigi Aso. A person who has an agenda, who's Nogeah B'davar, but is an Erlicha person, he doesn't feel that he has a Negias. He doesn't believe that he's Nogeah. He thinks he's impartial. He really thinks that. He really believes that. That's what the Kotzker says. What's the Kotzker saying? We asked before, why does it say Eli only in the second repetition, but not the first time? The first time it was when he was talking to Avram. He didn't feel that he was Nogeah. He didn't feel that he had a bias. He didn't feel that bias. He thought he was being impartial. He thought he was doing the right... But really he did have a bias. When he chazered it over, when he told Besuel the second time, he says, I said to Avram, Ulai loy soiva ha'isha leleches acharai, immediately, that was my bias. I'm feeling my bias. Says Venira Shechzira Torah Kol Parsha Shalzeh Amru Chazal Yafa Sichasan, that the Torah describes this Chazara, the repetition. Shagam Hu Yarei Shem Yeshlo Eza Negia, because he realized he became scared. Maybe I have a bias here. Maybe I'm not going to be trying hard enough. Maybe I'm trying to say specifically the wrong word so that she doesn't come, so that my daughter can marry him. And maybe because of me, the entire shlichus would get ruined, and it won't be successful. Says the Sfasemes, Ki yada ne'emana ki ratzon Avram Avinu yemali Hashem yisbarach. Eliezer knew that when he was being sent on a shlichus, on a mission by Avram, certainly Hashem is going to enable him to fulfill the mission. Rak yarei shelo yigrom kilkul b'shlichusai. But since now I'm biased, maybe that's going to ruin the mission. Maybe that's going to cause it to be unsuccessful. And that's why he davened, Hashem matzliach darki, that Hashem should make me successful, help me overcome my negias, so that I don't interfere in this mission that Avram is asking me to carry out. So he repeated everything. He repeated it. He wanted to get it out. When he repeated the entire story, he realized that when he asked Avram, he was being Nogeah B'davar. He had a bias. So he was doing tshuva. He was trying to get rid of the bias. He was trying to get it out. Because when he was talking to Avram, he didn't realize his bias. And then at the end, he realizes, if I'm going to be biased over here, that might ruin the entire mission. So he thinks about the whole thing again. He realizes, no, I said Eli, not Ulai. I said Eli lo tzava isha leleches. And then he got rid of it. Even though he himself was a tzaddik, but he realized that his entire mission was only because of Avram, and he has to get rid of his negias in order to fulfill the mission. It's an unbelievable thing. What was Eliezer Eved Avram accomplishing here? He was being sent on a mission. Within the mission, he had a reason, a bias to blow it up. He realizes his bias. He rids himself of the bias.
He got redemption.
And then he ultimately accomplishes the mission. It says the Sfas Emes, V'chein kol adam, and so is every person. Tzarich leida ki hu shliach Hashem yizbarach ba'olam hazeh. We are the shliach, we are the messenger of Hashem in this world. We're sent down to this world to accomplish a mission, to fulfill the tasks of God. He sent us here to accomplish a mission. But what? We're nogeya. We're biased. We have our own desires. We have our own ideas. We're influenced. We do things for our own personal gain and benefit. And we don't even realize. We feel, no, we are Yirei Shamayim, we are tzaddikim, we want to do the right thing. We don't even realize. A person has to stop and think and chazer over, review. What did I do today? Was it because of my personal bias? Or am I doing this for Hashem? For me? For Hashem. And if a person actually makes this calculation and thinks about this, and even if he realizes, yeah, I was biased, you can get rid of that bias. You can say, I feel bad for doing it, for carrying it out that way. And then we'll be successful in our mission. This is the lesson of Eliezer of Avram. But how did Eliezer carry this out? How did he rid himself of this midyas? How did he remove his bias?
He asked help from God.
He asked help from God, certainly. He realized that he is an Eved. It says the Sfas Emes in a different shtickle. Tafresh Lam and Gimel. Yesh ba'avodas Hashem Yisbarach beis bechinos. There's two relationships, two ways that we relate to God. One is
Ben. One's Eved.
A child of God. And the second is Eved. Is a servant of God.
Say it after we blow the shofar.
They Israel, but it's not Moshe Rabbeinu. It's mentioned in Yetziat Mitzrayim after receiving its
we do it Avinu Makenu.
Before Moshe Rabbeinu became Eved before departure. Yeah, it's
when Moshe Rabbeinu, right, he was when he died, he was called the Eved Hashem, even though he was on the highest level.
Yeah.
There's two, even though we say Banim Atem LaHashem Elokechem, we're also Avadim to Hashem. And the Sfas Emes puts it is that the Ben of Hashem is our neshama, it's our spirit, our soul.
The goof is the Eved.
And the goof is the Eved. When we are serving Hashem with our goof, with our physical attributes, then we're His servants. When we're connecting to Hashem on a more of a spiritual level, then we're His children. What is the avoda of an Eved? What makes an Eved great?
If he serves.
He's a servant. He's got the worst job. He's a servant.
loyalty.
What happens when an Eved is loyal? I'll tell you, I was in a hotel this week. I was in a hotel. And there was a guy helping me out. A very fancy hotel downtown. And there was a guy that was helping me out. And he took my car and he goes to the valet people and he says, no, this guy's with me. And I got this valet thing. And then he goes inside and he's ordering everybody around and blah, blah, and he's like directing the whole place. And I was like, wow, this guy's something special, right? Something special here. This big hotel, 5-star. And you got this guy's running around. His mom is ordering everybody around. What does he do? Right. He must be, the CEO over here. He must be the GM.
Waiting for you.
He must be the GM. So I said to him, what's your position over here? So he says to me, I'm the assistant to the GM. I'm the assistant to the GM. So I said, oh, you're the shamus?
Is he Jewish?
Yeah, he's Jewish. So he says, I'm the assistant to the GM. I said, incredible. The assistant to the GM. Every single person in that hotel, every manager, every senior, everybody was giving him covet. Right? Why? Why are they giving him covet? Because he's the assistant to the GM. He's not the GM.
No.
But he's the assistant to the GM.
That's the name. Okay.
He serves the GM. He serves the general manager. When a person serves the general manager, if he does such a good job, he's almost a reflection of the general manager.
Right.
He has the powers of the general manager.
Always.
He has the respect of the general manager. People need to respect him because if I got to be in good terms with the general manager. I got to be in terms with his assistant. Obviously, if he's his assistant, he must like him very much, and he becomes the assistant of the general manager, the reflection of the manager himself. That is an eved. An eved Hashem, a person who is an eved Hashem, is a complete reflection of Hashem. Now, in order to reflect Hashem, right? So let's think about a mirror for a second. Now, a mirror is made up of glass, certainly,
and silver.
But if you look at a mirror, you only see what's looking inside. You don't see anything. The mirror doesn't have its own attributes, other than to reflect what's looking down into it. And similarly in Eved, in order to be a good assistant to the GM, you're not yourself. Whoever you are, that's after hours. If there are after hours, I think the assistant to the GM lives in the hotel, and there are no after hours. But that would be, you put it for vacation time. This is 2 weeks vacation that you get a year. While you're there, you're nothing. You're zero. You're zero. All you are is a reflection of the boss. That's an Eved.
It's a bitul.
Bitul. To be a good Eved, a person must nullify all of his what? His biases. His negiyas. Got to remove it. You got to take our wills and our desires and our wants and our physicals and our attributes, our gufniyas, our gashmiyas, and what do we got to do with it? Put it aside. Sweep it under the carpet. For after hours or vacation time. Or maybe
never
completely gone.
So like Yaakov Yosef Herman.
He never took a vacation?
I don't know, but he was all for the boss.
Right. All for the boss. Very good. Rav Moshe Rafal mentioned before that we say these two relationships, Eved and Ben, after we blow the shofar. Hayom haras olam. Hayom yamid b'mishpat. Today is the day of judgment. Kol yitzurei olam. Everybody's being judged. Im kibanim, im kavanim. Are we like servants or like children? Im kibanim, rachmenu kirachim avabanim. If we're like children, so have mercy on us. Im kavanim, einenu lechat teluyos. So I've explained. The Gemara in Bava Basra teaches us that Bizman Shi Yisrael Oisim Ritzainen Shel Makayim, when the Jewish people are doing the will of Hashem, Nikroim Banim, they're called children. Ubizman She'ein Yisrael Oisim Ritzainen Shel Makayim, when the Jewish people are not doing the Ratzon Hashem, the will and desire of Hashem, Nikrayim Avodim, they're called servants. Still have a relationship. We're called servants. Im Kibanim, if we're doing the Ratzon Hashem, Rachamenu Karachim Avobanim. It's pashut. It's obvious. Have mercy on us, just like a father would have mercy on a child. V'im ke'avadim. But if we're going to be like servants, and we're not doing the Ratzon Hashem, then what should we do? Eineinu lecha teluyos. Our eyes are just hanging. You ever wonder what does that mean? Our eyes are hanging toward you. Ad shetachanenu, until you would have mercy on us. V'toitzi ka'or mishpatenu. What's eineinu lecha teluyos? What does that mean? Why don't you just say naseh tshuva, or we'll clap al chet? I mean, what's eineinu lecha teluyos? Our eyes are hanging towards you, Hashem. We're begging you. We're looking towards you, and we're saying to you, the Rabbi Shalom, I've sinned. I'm a goof. I'm an Eved. I'm just a simple person. I'm an Arur. I'm nothing. Eved Avodim. Like Canaan. What am I already? Just a simple human being. But Eineinu Lecha Teluyos. Our eyes are hanging towards you. We're just looking towards you. That's all we're doing. We'll be mevatel ourselves. We'll take away all of our own nigiyas, our bias, our agenda. And eineinu lecha teluyos, our eyes are hanging only to you. Ad shetechanenu. If Eliezer was Canaan, if he was Canaan, so there's something major that we can learn from here. Major. It's another Sfas Emes. Sorry for being a one-safer person here, but just a lot of stuff here.
Oh yeah.
The Sfas Emes says, Eved Maskil, when a Canaan, when the Eved Avadim is smart and can accomplish this idea of complete bittul, just becoming a reflection, the assistant to the GM, it's mechazik yadenu begolos. It encourages us, gives us strength in this deep, bitter, dark exile. Shekamat nister meitanu derech habanim. The way of the relationship of a father to a child is almost hidden from us. We almost can't experience that anymore. Only on Shabbos, he says in a different place, but we almost can't experience that relationship of ben, of neshama to an av. We almost can't have that. We're avodim to the highest degree. We're so davuk in our guf. Umikol makom im navid oso yizborach be'emes begolus uve'emuna. If we serve the Rabbana Shalom be'emes, with truth, with emunah, in the golus, in the deepest and darkest places, nizke lotzis ma'arer lebarach. We'll go out of being an Arur. We won't be Canaan anymore, and we'll be Baruch. Kiri Isa be'eved Avram. Just like Eliezer Eved Avram. Says the Sfas Emes, because the future redemption will be Asid Hageula Lios Al Yedei Doiros Hashvalim. The future is that the Geula, the redemption, will be from the lowest generations to the lowest of the lowest generation. Bechinas Eved Dafka. Dafka, it has to be when we're completely, entirely only Avadim. V'hu al yedei Amunah. And how will we get out? How will that redemption come? Through Amunah. As it says in the Gemara Makis, Boch Habakuk v'Hamidon al Achas. They boil down the entire Torah to one thing, which is Tzaddik be'Amunasoi Yechya. That's how we're going to get out of Galus, with Emunah. What kind of Emunah? Emunah in the Rabbeinu Shalom controls everything. Hashem is all-encompassing. We are here to serve you. We are here to be mevatel ourselves. We are here to become transparent, or just a reflection of you, Hashem. And if we reach that level, in the deepest and darkest Golus, Kenan Mamish, Kenan, Eved Avadim, can reach the highest Madrega. He's not Kenan anymore. He's not Eliezer anymore. Who is he? It doesn't say his name. What is he? Who is this fellow? Eved Avram. Ha-Eved. The greatest level that mankind can ever reach. The Eved. Not just an Eved. The Eved. Eved Avram. In the Siva Shalom, the Rebbe says, Yofasi Chosan Shel Avdei Avos Yoser. Right? What does it say? Mitorasan Shel Banim. It's greater, it's better, it's more beautiful. The Sicha, the words of who? Of Avdei Avos. Not just Yov Eliezer. Of Avdei Avos. Kol HaMechuber L'Tohar Tohar. A person who is joined to a Tohar is Tohar. Be attached to the mikvah. You're Tohar. The idea of being attached to the Rabbeinu Shalom, and he brings it out, the Derech Hasidus, to being attached to a tzaddik. The person is attached to a tzaddik. So even if we ourselves were not on that madrega, but we're here to serve a tzaddik, so that helps us be simply the gabbai of the Rebbe is an important person. You got to get him his good side, right? You got to give him some, But because he's the representative of the Rebbe.
He's in control sometimes.
And that's what we have to strive to be. Yoiser mi terasim shalbanim. From Parshas Chodesh Azal, Parshas Boy and onwards, that's Torah. The Torah of the Banim. Before we get into that, we must incorporate these ideas into our lives. If they're not part of our lives, they need to become part of our lives. We must understand the significance of these ideas. Otherwise, the Torah won't become part of us. I've said this a couple of times, I'll say it again. The Gemara says, Godol ha-metzuva v'yoisa, yoiser mimisha eno metzuva v'osa. Greater is the one. Greater is the one. It doesn't have to be okay. You have to be okay. Greater is the one that is metzuva v'osa more than one is not metzuva v'osa. What does metzuva v'osa mean? Somebody's commanded to do something and he does it. He's much greater than somebody who does something even though he wasn't commanded. So think about it like this. I go and I ask my kid, can you please make me a coffee? And they come and they make me a coffee. Thank you very much. That was really nice of you. Imagine if I was just sitting there, I didn't ask for a coffee, but my kid knows I like coffee and goes and makes me coffee and brings it to me. Which one's greater? The first one, I told him, or the second one, I didn't even have to tell him.
The first one when you told him.
I would say the second one.
I would say the second one.
No.
The second one, not the first. How would this first one be better?
Because he's going to do it, maybe he doesn't want it at that moment. But he's going to do it because you tell him.
Don't like being told what to do.
Oh.
Yes.
Not only that.
Nobody.
But once it becomes a mitzvah, Now the Yetzer Hara kicks in. When it's on your own volition.
So that's what Tosas asks. Tosas asks the question in the Gemara. How can you say that let's say we're talking about lulav and esrog, for example. So gadol hametzuva ve'osa, the male who has to shake the lulav and esrog, is much greater than the female who shakes it even though she doesn't have to. Tosas says, no, what are you talking about, right? Yeah. She didn't have to do it, and she still does it? It's much greater.
You think, of course.
You think. No. So Tosas says, but Ramesh Rafo is saying that, well, no, because the woman has no Yetzer Hara, she doesn't have, it's really the same thing, it's the same idea. You have no reason not to do it, right? So you want to do it, you do it yourself, you do it on your own. But the man, he's got this inner voice telling him, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't. I don't want to do it, why should I do it? I have something better to do with my time. And he still does it, so he's greater. In Shemi Shmuel, he says a different word than Tosas. He says the most amazing thing you ever heard in your life. He says, we have a concept in the Gemara called Shluchoi Shel Adam Kimoisai. The shliach of a person, the messenger of a person, is like the person himself. You become when you go on a mission for somebody, you are his representative. Somebody wants to be Mekadesh, a woman, you want to get married to a woman, Bimdina Sayam in China. So what do? You give it to your messenger and you give her a ring and he says, Hareya Mekadesh Asli. You're not talking to me, you're not Mekadesh Asli, you're Mekadesh to the other guy in North America. Okay, but you're Shlucha Shel Adam Kimaisa. You're like the person who sent me. When the Rabbeinu Shalom sends us on a mission, we become his shliach. Right. We're a messenger for his mission. Shluchoi shel Adam Kimoisai.
There you go.
Kimoisai. We become like him. We become him. The Gemara in Bava Basra says that when somebody brings up Bikurim, right, he has to say a Mikra Bikurim, bringing up the fruits, and it says in the Mikra, it says, from the land which Hashem gave to me. What if you send a Shliach, a messenger? He still can say, Al Adama Shenasatali. Why? It's not mine. It's a lie. It's not my land. Shlucha Shel Adam Kumaisai. A shliach is the outstretched arm of the Mishaleach. You fuse identities. The identities become one. You become, in Lomdus, in Gemara, you become one being. When Hashem sends us on a mitzvah, we become one with Hashem. Kimoisai. In Eved of Hashem, Kimoisai. We reach a level. We started off as an Eved, an Orr, Aguf, an Orr, Eved Avodim, Golas. And we pick ourselves up. And we're Yotzei Michlal Orr, Libarach. What happens? There's a transformation. We're not ourselves anymore. We're somebody else. We're something else. We're something much bigger and greater. We're our neshamas now. We're not ourselves. We've removed our own personal bias. Now we're just an expression of godliness. We're the messengers, the servants, the assistants of Hashem. It's a famous story where there was a Chassidish fellow and he was looking for Yeshua. He was looking for what it was, a child, not sure, I don't know. Looking for Yeshua. And he went to his Rebbe and he says, Rebbe, I'm looking for Yeshua. I need a salvation. What should I do? And the Rebbe says to him, this Rosh Chodesh, when you daven Hallel, make sure that you have a lot of kavanah. When you say, Ana Hashem. Okay, so he's going And Rosh Chodesh comes, he's in Shul, and he says, Ana Hashem, Hashiana, save me, give me this Yeshua, Hatzlichana, make me successful. And the room is vibrating from his kavanah and from his screams and his prayers. And then the Yeshua doesn't happen. And a year passes by and nothing comes. And he goes back to the Rebbe. And the Rebbe, he says, Rebbe, I followed your advice. I had kavanah, Ana Hashem. And nothing happened. And the Rebbe says, what did you have kavanah in? Ana Hashem, like you told me. Which Ana Hashem? Ana Hashem Hashiana! Ana Hashem Atzlichana! Says the Rebbe, that's not the Ana Hashem that I was referring to. So what Ana Hashem were you referring to, Rebbe? Ana Hashem ki ani avdecha. Ani avdecha ben amasecha. Hashem. Ana Hashem. Please Hashem. Ki ani avdecha. Because I'm your servant. I'm your servant, the son of a maidservant. That's all I am. I'm an horror. I'm an horror. I'm nothing. All I am is a reflection of you. And when you become a reflection, you become something else. You become a different person or something greater than person. I don't know. You become something else. Something spiritual, something godly. Shlucha shel Adam k'moisei. That was Eliezer Eved Avram. The epitome of Avdus. The quintessential Eved. And you become the greatest non-existing thing to ever exist.
Non-existent, yes, it's a bittul, yes.
You don't even get a name anymore.
Yeah.
So yes, of course, in Urim and David Baruch, certainly Canaan and Yisrael don't go together. But what happens when Canaan becomes something else? When Canaan becomes something else? When he actually fulfills the shlichus, and he ensures to remove his bias, and to make sure that Yitzchak gets married to a family member. When that gets removed, now I'm not biased anymore, he's married. He's married, I'm not biased. And I wasn't even biased before he got married either. Now I can be Baruch, because I've transformed myself. And we all start that way. And the environment and society we live in is that way. It's over. Eved Avodim. There's almost no ben inside of it. That's the lesson of Eliezer Eved Avram. We should all be zoicha to reach, to learn from Eliezer Eved Avram, to learn these lessons of being assistants, understanding our limitations, and therefore just trying to remove that negiah and that bias. And if we do so, we will become shluchai shel haribono shalom k'moisei mamish. If in the entire Klal Yisrael looked like that, there would be no doubt, with that kind of emunah, there would be no doubt that we would be zoicha, and we would have Mashiach Tzidkeinu come in Heber V'Yameinu.
Amen.